Welcome, MJ's Classroom, new episode today. Today I wanted to talk about consumerism as well as minimalism, right? And the idea of our culture today is so obsessed with consumption, right? It's so obsessed with new things. It's so obsessed with the habitual behavior of purchasing. And a lot of that we can understand why. A lot of it goes to the fact that obviously advertising is just pushed on us constantly. We're watching TV where people are living more glorified lives that we want to emulate. So we're like, I need those nice things as well. So that's part of it. The idea that the money we get paid is just kind of pieces of paper, right? And they don't really give you any value. It's just pieces of paper. So your mindset is, I will trade paper for a real item. But a lot of the things that we buy are simply short-term positive things. They're not long-term. And think about the more stuff you have, the more stress and choice you have. And that can lead to wasting time on things you probably would rather not. If you have a huge wardrobe and you wake up in the morning and you have 30 options of things to wear, that becomes a very interesting time for you. You're wasting a lot of time debating, matching things together, and next thing you know, you've spent 20, 30 minutes just trying to pick out a shirt to wear. And is that really the type of life you want to live? Or if you just had a few, it's simple. It's colder, I have a long sleeve, I'm wearing that long sleeve. Perfect, check. So the question is living a more simplified life beneficial to you? And that's where really minimalism comes in. And those of you who are not familiar with minimalism, it's really the idea of living a more simple, basic life without a lot of complexities, right? Think about the purpose of clothing. The purpose of clothing is simply to cover yourself and adhere to whatever weather conditions there are, right? So you have a jacket, have a couple long sleeve, couple short sleeve, a sweater. You know, you don't need a ton of stuff. It's just to meet the needs of your, the weather in which you're going to encounter on a daily basis. Then let's think about it even on the standpoint of where you live. Think about a bedroom. What is the purpose of that room? A comfortable place to sleep. So just having a bed probably would be sufficient, right? But what else do we put in there, right? Do we really need these huge houses with, 5 bedrooms when you only have 3, 4 people living in it? Probably not. And when you simplify your life, does that give you a certain level of happiness that a more complex life doesn't give? And it all ties back to that first video when he said, can humans really ever be satisfied? And the question is, do we buy all this clothing and get these huge houses and buy all these things with the idea that it's going to satisfy us? And then it never does, because you always want more, right? The idea of, well, I bought this brand new Chevy, and you feel really good about it. And then after a while, you're like, I wish I had a BMW. I wish I had this. Are you setting yourself up for an infinite amount of disappointment? Where you're never going to be satisfied? Or if you just cut down to a more simple lifestyle, is that going to let you focus on things you truly enjoy more, whether it is family or traveling or whatever it could be? So I think when you're thinking about what you want to spend your money on, and as you age and as you get a salary job, the things you buy should be indicative of the life in which you want to live, right? And there's nothing wrong with buying things that you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And I buy lots of things that I definitely don't need, but I enjoy. And there's no problem with that. But thinking about the idea of when you buy something, it should serve a purpose, right? It should provide value to you. It should not add stress and anxiety and more complexity to your life, right? It should be something that you gain and you get a lot of value out of, which is something to think about. So, I'm going to end it there. I think it's a really good thing to constantly reflect on in making those choices that you want. If you are one of those people who has a Starbucks every day, really take a time out and say, why am I doing this? Could this be used to another purpose? Am I really happy with this choice? And the more you reflect about the way in which you spend, and make sure that it connects with the type of life you want, and limiting stress and anxiety and just adding to a quality life. Those are things that I want you to consider.